Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Southeast.
It is Wednesday night in Atlanta. That means it's time for Braves baseball and more interleague action tonight as the Blue Jays and Braves meet in Game 2 of this brief series. It's another hot, sticky night. Hopefully Atlanta can rebound from a 6-2 loss in Game 1 last night. Hi again, friends, along with Jeff Francoeur, Joe Simpson, Chip Carey. Great to be back with you at the ballpark, where tonight the Braves feature not one, not two, not three, but 4 All-Stars in their starting lineup. The 4th All-Star, Jeff, is Mike Fultonevich, and of late he's been dominant.
You know, this is a great honor for Mike. He's deserved it this year. He's pitched great. You look at him, he's finally, to me, throwing strikes, challenging hitters when he needs to. And you look at it right here. He's got a 2.37 ERA. He's 4th in the NL. And you know what I like? Look, he's got 10.8 Ks per 9 innings. And you see him trying to take that next step. He's got the electric stuff to be an ace. Joe, I think there's still one thing that's kind of holding him back.
Sure, there's room for improvement for just about everybody, and Mike's no exception for that. And his is more about his workload. He's got to do a little better job of pitching deep into ball games, give the bullpen a little bit of rest when he can. And also, there's another number that came as a surprise to me today, and that is that it's taking him more pitches per batter than anyone else in the National League. That 4.3 per batter is the highest in the National League. So tonight, that will be his goal, is to go deeper in the game, go shorter to each hitter.
And hopefully Atlanta can do some damage against a team outside the National League East. That has been a problem, surprisingly, for the Braves this year. But it's a beautiful night for baseball. Yesterday is gone. Let's see what the Braves can do in Game 2. Lineup's first pitch and a whole lot more coming up here at SunTrust Park.
Southeast is presented by Chevrolet. Find new roads.
It's another hot, muggy night here at SunTrust Park. For the moment, it's 92 degrees, partly cloudy skies. It is clouding up at the ballpark, and off in the distance, can't see the high rises of downtown Atlanta, so there's some precipitation in the area. Hopefully Mike Foltynewicz will be raining down fastballs on the Blue Jays as he tries to win his second home start in his last 5 times here.
Well, he is outstanding recently here at home with that 0.38 ERA. 3-1 strikeouts to walks. He's going to try to improve on that tonight against the Toronto club that he's faced one other time in his career as a starter. 6 innings, 3 runs, 1 walk, only 1 strikeout. His 4 keys to pitching success, a little bit of an echo off what we did in our opening comments. Be above average today. Pitch more than 5 2/3 innings. Go into the 6th or 7th. Be below average on the number of pitches per batter. We showed you that's 4.3, the highest in the National League. Try to get some earlier outs, save some energy, and get deeper in the game.
Yeah, Mike this year has had a bunch of games where he's thrown just 5 innings. He's had 9 of those starts so far this year. Hopefully he can be efficient and productive against Curtis Granderson and the rest of the Toyota starting lineup. Teoscar Hernandez gets the start in left and cleans up. Lourdes Gurriel, who came on late in the game, gets the start for John Gibbons at second base. Curtis Granderson leads off and grounds the first one right to Freddie Freeman. 1 pitch, 1 out. That's as efficient as you can be.
He is definitely below average.
And hopefully, guys, tonight Atlanta can have a clean defensive game. Last night's game was really an outlier in that regard. The Braves were guilty of 3 errors, all of them on the infield, which has not been a problem for this club all season long, and Joe, particularly since the 1st of June.
Yeah, they've been outstanding. It was really a weird night for that to happen to 3 guys on the infield.
I'm going to tell you, you go 18 days without making an error on the infield. It's okay if you have one of those every once in a while.
Yep.
Yangervis Solarte is the batter and takes ball 1 outside. Solarte hitting .250, 16 homers, 48 knocked in, and 1 for 4 with a run scored last night. And that's off the plate. 2 balls, no strikes. Let me correct that. He was 1 for 4, but Gurriel scored the run. He came on as a pinch runner last night for Toronto. And 3-0 the count.
No walks, 7 strikeouts in his last start at Milwaukee.
Got the call there. Solarte was on his way to first.
Mike actually pitched a good ball game in Milwaukee, even though he took the loss. He had 1 bad inning. Gave up 5 runs, and that was the ball game. And he hopes he gets this call all night.
Throw it there again. See if Solarte will swing at it. 3 balls and a strike. Ground ball again to first. Freddie to a knee, and that'll be the 2nd out. Nice comeback for Foltynewicz. 2 ground outs. 2 outs on 6 pitches.
You know, you talk about Folty and Milwaukee, and I think one thing he's done such a great job this year of is exactly what you said. You know, times when he gets in trouble and guys get on base, he starts to hurry up. He pitches, and then all of a sudden, like you said, there's a 5-run spot, and it happened before he knew it. And that was the first time I've seen him do that in a long time.
It was. You're right.
Where he's taking a breath, getting back, and okay, let's get this hitter.
Justin Smoak is the Toronto first baseman. Smoak's multi-hit streak ended last night. He had come to town with multi-hit games in 3 consecutive affairs, but his RBI streak continued thanks to a 3rd inning home run, the only run allowed by Julio in 6 2/3 innings of work last night. And that called a strike late. It's 0-2.
Talked to Julio some today. He's feeling very good about what he's doing right now and how he's pitching. Said he felt great last night.
And Smoke's going to pop one up right side. Freddie says he's got it, and he tells Ozzie, get out of the way, I got it. And Freddie Freeman handled all plays in the 1st inning. Good start for Foltynewicz. He breezes through the lineup with 9 pitches. And let's see if the Braves have better luck in the bottom of the first inning. Ender Inciarte is going to lead off. Brian Snitker's Toyota starting 9. Albies, Freeman, Markakis, Flowers, Camargo, Acuna, Swanson, Fulton-Nevich, 8th and 9th. Sam Gaviglio is the pitcher for the Blue Jays. Fellas, a former 5th round pick of the St. Louis Cardinals.
He's 28 years old, 6'2", 195 out of Ashland, Oregon. Went from the Cardinals to the Mariners to the Royals to the Blue Jays. They got him this March, right before spring training. His numbers on the road a lot worse than they are at home. Sinker, slider, changeup. And that was the scouting report I got from Nick Markakis, who said, I just watched video on him. That's all I got.
So he's got a big advantage, one would think, to start the game tonight. And he starts Ender with a strike. Got to get Ender going again. He's in one of those extended droughts at the plate. No hits in his last 13 tries. And his average at .244 for the year. And sprayed foul. And Ender's been in this count quite a bit during this stretch. It's almost automatically 0-1 or 0-2.
And as a hitter, you try different ways. You try taking pitches. You try being aggressive. And when it's just not going for you, you feel like you're in this spot every single time.
And he gets a big break. He slams the bat down as he's hit by a pitch on an 0-2 count.
Gosh, that might have been about the same place Freddie got hit the other day, right above the elbow. Ender does not wear a guard there either.
Ender got hit on the body in Milwaukee in the first inning, July 5th, and he scored one of 2 runs for the Braves in that game.
That's exactly where Freddie got hit. When Freddie's arm went numb.
Well, that's what he's got, dead arm right now. That's what he can't feel it. And he'll know. Usually you get about 2-3 minutes, and if it starts to come back, you know you're okay. If it's not.
Freddie went to first, then the third out was made, and Freddie stood between the mound and third base waiting for his glove, and he couldn't prop his arm up on his knee. It wouldn't stay.
I got hit by Danny Baez. Remember Danny Baez with the Phillies, and he ran those 95 hard, and it hit me right on the left elbow. Same kind of thing. I couldn't feel my arm, but I didn't want to come out of the game, so I told Bobby I'm okay. I get to first. Still got my left arm just hanging by me, and next thing you know, someone gaps one, and I have to run all the way home. My arm just dangling the whole way. And I come in, and Bobby's like, yeah, go get some ice.
Yeah.
So a break for the Braves, not so much for Ender, as he gets hit with the pitch on an 0-2 count, but he's at first base for Ozzie, who is red hot. He's been on base in 19 straight games. He's got a 7-game hitting streak working again for Atlanta. And he strokes this one toward right, and Curtis Granderson near the line makes the play for the first out. So Ozzie retired, and Freddie Freeman is the batter. Freddie got on base twice last night. He walked, reached on a force play, and then struck out twice. That snapped his 3-game hitting streak. Freddie's so grateful for receiving over 4 million votes to represent the National League in the All-Star game. Remarkable. And a shift on for him. The pitch. He is off the plate. Ball 1. Joe mentioned the roundabout route that Gaviglio took to make it to Toronto. He's a former Cardinal draft pick out of Oregon State. As this one's rolled towards second, they'll try to turn 2. Ball dropped, and everybody's safe. So it's Toronto's turn to have some infield defensive issues. They don't get the force at second. Ball dropped, and Freeman at first, Ender at second with 1 out. And John Gibbons may take a look at this.
I don't think he even had this close to in his glove.
No.
Yeah.
Never got it to his hand.
And even if he did, I don't even know if he was on the base. See?
You're right. It's an E6.
So Freeman's at first on the fielder's choice. No appeal for Toronto, and now Nick Markakis is coming up. Nick's got 7 hits in his last 4 games.
Seems like we've said that an awful lot this year.
Yeah, it does. Huh.
38 multi-hit games for Markakis, including one last night. And off the plate. But to finish the point on Gaviglio, while he was with Seattle, he made his major league debut against the Blue Jays. May 17th of last year.
I'm guessing he did okay.
And now here he is.
Yeah.
Pitching for Toronto. Popped up left side. Teoscar Hernandez is there and puts it away. And there's the second out. This kid was an accomplished pitcher at Oregon State. I'm shocked he went in the 5th round. He was 10-1 as a freshman. Then his junior year started the season with 41 2/3 scoreless innings pitched and went 12-2.
I'll tell you why. I was in the Pac-12.
Just as a reminder, I think the Pac-12 won the World Series. In fact, Oregon State this year, didn't they?
They didn't play anybody. They were fresh.
Oh, okay. just a reminder.
No, I would like to say actually Arkansas lost it.
Okay. Go ahead.
They catch the fly ball. Right fielder calls them off. It's ball game. National champs.
All you Arkansas fans can address those letters to Jeff Francoeur here at Fox Sports. Braves 0 for 1 with runners in scoring position tonight. That has been an ongoing problem of late for Atlanta too. During this 6 games out of 7 in the loss column run for the Braves over the past week. They're getting chances, guys, but haven't been able to get not just a big hit, but sometimes a productive out that would score a run. And now Flowers behind 0-2. Braves have 10 hits with the runners in scoring position in the last week.
That's quite a switch for this team.
Yeah.
Two on, 2 out, 2 strikes. The pitch is poked out of play by Flowers. On the positive side of things, the Braves have been one of the most productive 2-out run scoring teams in the big leagues. Atlanta with 177 2-out runs scored. Let's see if Flowers can add to it here. Ground ball hit towards short. And Diaz will flip to Gurriel at second, and that's the inning. Braves got a hit batsman and an error. Can't cash it in. No score. We head to the second.
Xfinity. Xfinity delivers the fastest internet with the best in-home Wi-Fi experience. And by Delta Airlines.
More muggy night in Atlanta, as you'd expect in mid-July. No score as we head to the second inning. Teoscar Hernandez, Randall Grichuk, and Mr. Gurriel are coming up for the Blue Jays, who enter play 42-48 and 20.5 games out of first in the rough and tumble AL East, which is led by the Red Sox now by 3.5 games. A strike from Fultonevich. It's 0-1.
I think the Red Sox and Yankees play the last 3 games of the year again.
Do they?
That might very well come down to that series.
It might.
No balls at a strike. And the importance of that series, guys, might come down to what happens in the next couple of weeks, because apparently the Manny Machado trade rumor mill is starting to spin a lot more quickly. The Yankees have inquired. The Red Sox have inquired, and apparently Milwaukee is involved in trying to get the Orioles slugger. As Hernandez down and swinging, first strikeout for Fultonevich, 1 out.
Well, that was a great sequence. Couple of breaking balls set up by his fastball, but what a great location for that slider.
That's one thing, Joe, I was talking to Fulte about yesterday, and he said, you know, I've really tried to make a concerted effort this year that when I do miss on a slider, it's down and not up. And I know a lot of people can say, well, that makes sense, but it's a lot harder to do than you think.
Well, isn't it something for Fultonevich, the league and Major League Baseball hitting a $124 and anything but a fastball against him? Pitch like that shows you why. As Randall Grichuk pops one into right field, that'll be a can of corn from Markakis. And 2 very efficient outs here in the second.
That's where the power pitcher comes in, though. Chip, if you've got to be ready for 98, all of a sudden the off-speed stuff becomes a lot tougher. But especially when Mike's slider is as sharp as it is, it's almost impossible.
And that's one thing I like too, is you saw for Grichuk there, he threw a get-me-over slider at 87 first pitch, which a lot of times when you got 98, it's a great pitch because it's almost a free strike. But then you saw the strikeout slider he threw to Hernandez. Yeah, and to have those 2 different ones.
Gurriel with a line drive on the first pitch. He just turned around 97 miles an hour. And that's the first Toronto hit of the game. This kid they think is going to be a big star. Cuban defector signed to a 7-year major league contract and making his presence known tonight.
Well, that helped that it was down where he can just drop the barrel on it. But that's not to take anything away from him. He is a solid looking player, made a real slick play defensively last night.
So Mike to the stretch for the first time. Aledmus Diaz, the former Cardinals shortstop. And that missed inside, ball 1. Diaz also from Cuba. And he defected in 2012 while the Cuban national team was playing in the Netherlands in an international baseball tournament. Cardinals signed him in 2014, got to the big leagues in 2016, hit 300 for St. Louis that year with 17 homers.
And it was kind of like Aguilar for Milwaukee. He was filling in for an injured player and took over the job.
And so the Cardinals then traded him for outfielder J.B. Woodman after the 2017 season, and now here he is in Toronto. Nice insurance policy with Troy Tulowitzki out.
Yeah, the Jays have 3 Cubans on their team.
2-1 pitch.
Kendry Morales being the other one.
Diaz had a big moment in his career. His first pinch hit home run came against the Braves. That was April 8th over at Turner Field. In his second career game, he hit 2 homers as a pinch hitter that season for St. Louis. And so a walk with Gurriel at first. Diaz takes the free pass, and now the Toronto catcher Luke Maile is going to stand in. Maile at 234, 3 homers, 20 knocked in.
He's had some big hits against Atlanta. Drove in some runs up in Toronto in the earlier series.
And takes a strike. Maley's from the University of Kentucky. And the Kentucky Gatorade Player of the Year after his senior year at Covington Catholic High School. So here's the sometimes exasperating Fultonevich. He got the first 2 outs very quickly, then a hit, then a long sequence for the walk. Now Maley facing a 1-1 pitch. He's the 8th place hitter. Letter high strike, a ball and 2 strikes the count.
Boy, that had some zip on it.
You could hear that.
Yeah.
Mike is ready. Here it comes. And he chased the high fastball at 99 miles an hour. Couple of strikeouts both in the second inning. No score with Johan Camargo leading off.
Braves GM Alex Anthopoulos is seeing a lot of familiar faces this series because the Braves are taking on his former team, the Blue Jays. He was a GM over there from 2009 to 2015, and I spoke to his former player, Kevin Pillar, and he sung his praise. He said Alex Anthopoulos revitalized people's love for baseball in Toronto, and he said the thing that Anthopoulos did that put the Jays over the top was understanding the value of team chemistry. He said he put the right guys in the clubhouse and on the field, and also said, you know, when you get everyone playing for each other, it's hard to stop. And the thing that he said that stood out to me the most, he said from the outside looking in, that's exactly what he sees happening over here in the Braves clubhouse. He said it's a nice veteran group, established guys, but also some young guys in there, and they all genuinely care about each other. And he said that's the component that doesn't show on paper. And guys, he's right. It's hard to question the team chemistry in this clubhouse right now.
Yeah, it's a good group, Kelsey, no doubt. As Johan Camargo leads off for Atlanta, and that misses up and away. And speaking of good chemistry, want to wish Kelsey's mom and dad a happy anniversary today. They're 37th. To Betsy and Greg Wingert, they're watching in Houston, Texas tonight.
I met old Betsy and Greg. Good people.
I met Greg in the elevator in Houston as well.
1 ball, 1 strike. And that one right back where it came from, and Camargo has the first Braves hit.
Hopefully Kelsey's treating him to a nice steak dinner tonight.
I bet she has something very special planned. Back where it came from is right.
So Greg and Betsy, happy anniversary. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast. Kelsey said.
Oh, look at that.
See, look at that.
Very nice.
Yes. Kelsey's mom and dad watch every game, even when they go out to dinner. So hopefully they're having a great night tonight, and we wish them 37 happy years more. Here's Acuna. Ronald O for 4 last night.
I love you two guys, but when I'm eating at Porterhouse, I'm not really thinking about y'all.
Yeah, I understand.
Naviglio to the belt and delivers, and a high fly to right. Granderson will drift back a step or two. He'll have plenty of room. And Acuna's retired for out number 1. Ronald 3 for his last. 19 now. I want to ask you too about this time of year. There is so much on the line with every game. How close the divisional race is, the neck-and-neck fight with the Phillies, the quality of teams the Braves are playing right now, the heat of the summer, all the travel. I guess it's safe to assume that right now the Braves are just bone tired.
I can't answer that in terms of are they really tired. I don't know. They had a day off Monday. They'll have another one tomorrow. That will help heading into the last series before the All-Star break.
I think you kind of hit a little, not a wall, but a little snag, a little bit tired. I loved the 4-day All-Star break. I thought it did a lot for you just to get away, not think about baseball. You know, I remember I would be at the beach and tune in maybe every once in a while in the All-Star game to see B-Max at bat or Chippers at bat real quick. But other than that, I enjoyed my downtime.
No balls and a strike. And a liner by Dansby down the line, and foul to left. 0-2.
Yeah, I was talking to Snit about that, Joe, and that's what he's saying. He's like, I'm going to the lake for 3 days to just decompress.
Yeah. Well, and I think you look forward to it. It's hard to keep your mind on what you're doing and the job at hand, knowing that it's coming and you're anxious for it to get here.
And that's the trap, I would assume, of the week leading up to the All-Star break. No matter who you're playing, no matter how well or how poorly you're playing.
I think that's what's a real bonus for the Braves 4 All-Stars, is that it is in Washington. They can fly up there, take part in all the ceremonies, and stay there and not have to travel anywhere else.
Have a couple days to relax.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday off, Thursday off, and then a night game on Friday. After the break, that'll be awesome. 0-2 pitch. Just missed.
Well, I think that's one thing MLB's done a good job. Remember, we used to only have 3-day All-Star break sometimes. And you play Thursday, and then they made a rule now where it's a 4-day, and you can't have a mandatory practice on Thursday. I remember that was in 2015 was the first year they did. And Pete McCann, our manager in Philly, said, y'all want to practice Thursday? I said, I'll see you Friday at 2.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the schedule that I think the casual fan doesn't understand. And yes, you got the charter travel, you stay in the nice hotels, et cetera, but it's still 162 games in 187 days now. It is unrelenting. 2-2 for Dansby. Fultonevich on deck. Camargo at first, 1 out, no score. And just missed.
Well, he's taken a couple of close ones out there. Good eye.
Yeah, they're off the plate. Those were good eyes right there.
After he turned on that one so hard early in the count, trying to stay away from him.
I think you'll see Dansby. I think you'll see Camargo take off here and Dansby try to shoot one here.
Let's see. Nope. Pulled foul. And we will do it again. Pirates helped out the Braves today. Pittsburgh shut out Washington 2-0. Gio Gonzalez started that game, gave up a home run to Starling Marte. Gonzalez has not won a game since May 28th.
It's hard to believe.
But I don't think he's pitched that bad either, has he?
He hasn't,
No.
but they can't score.
And they've been shut out a bunch of times, more than they were shut out all last year.
I think that's their 8th this year. They had 7 last year. Now the runner goes and out away.
You know, all year and before the season, you know, we talk and I predicted the Nats to go to the World Series this year. And when you look back now, Each week I kept saying, well, they're due for a run, they're due for a run. For the first time this past week, I finally said, you know what, I think this is a two-horse race between the Braves and the Phillies. I don't think Washington's healthy enough, and for some reason, I don't think they click well together.
Something going on there that's been going on for a couple, 3 years. They changed managers, but it's the same result.
Yep.
Another 3-2 pitch. Good jump, and Dansby turns on that one. Good at bat here.
See, Dansby's seen him good right here. He's all over everything.
He can handle up and in. Likes the ball up and in.
He does. He's quick to it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to close the book on the Nationals, they've lost 11 of their last 16 games. They are hoping to get Steven Strasburg back shortly after the break. He's pitching in his second rehab start on Sunday. And Ryan Zimmerman will start a rehab on Monday.
And that's a tough thing. As much as it's great for those guys to get him back, Zimmerman hasn't had a meaningful AB in
a couple of months.
2 months.
Yeah.
So now you can't expect him, at least for a couple weeks, to feel comfortable. Strasburg's not going to be able to go out there and throw 105 pitches right away.
Again, the 3-2 pitch. Again, the runner goes, and another foul ball. Camargo saying, please put it in play in fair territory. Next one will be the 10th pitch that Swanson will see here in the Atlanta second.
Johan's in good shape. He can do this all night.
About a hanging slider double down the left field line.
Ground ball, and he picked the right place to hit it. Diaz was the cover man. Ball dropped in center, and no further advance. Grichuk kicked it. Camargo didn't see it, and he's at third base. Swanson at first. A 10-pitch at bat for Dansby, and with one out, Mike Foltynewicz can help himself.
Great at bat by Swanson, finding the right spot with the shortstop coming in there to cover. And Camargo's kind of gliding into third base. If he had been watching his third base coach, he might have been sent, and Ron had to hold him. It's hard to run and look over your shoulder behind you.
And what hurts there is you've got Foltynewicz, who's only 2 for 30 at the plate, and there is already one out in the inning. Oh, what a stop. 55-footer there from Gaviglio, who checks his pitching hand as he makes his way back to the mound. 1 ball, no strikes.
That's something I'll never understand, Joe. He's giving you a free out to go second and third, and you're going to bounce an 85-mile-per-hour change up?
I know.
Way outside. One more note on Gaviglio that's interesting. He's a distant relative of Ralph Houck, his grandfather's cousin. Was Ralph Houck, great manager in the major leagues who followed Casey Stengel with the Yankees. 2 balls, no strikes. The pitch. Mike was swinging away, and Solarte almost had a heart attack. 2-1.
Seems to me Ralph Houck was an ex-Marine.
He was.
He came in no nonsense guy after Casey.
Two balls, 1 strike now. Scoreless game. Braves second. Long inning for Gaviglio. The pitch. And Mike got the bunt down. Smoke will glove flip. Safe there. Safe there. Ball into the right field corner. Backed up by Granderson. Smoke tried to flip it with the glove. That was late. And then Mailey's throw airmailed first base. And Atlanta has the lead.
Great bump and a good read by Camargo.
I don't even know where to start to talk about that play.
Yeah, pushes it nicely to first in between.
Even on a good scoop, he doesn't get him.
No.
He's safe. And I'm not trying to take it away from what we were talking about, but if he throws him first pitch there, like we talked about, a fastball down the middle, he probably just bunts it right back to him or somewhere close to there. And if you saw it, Camargo wasn't really looking to go.
So be a fielder's choice RBI for Fultonevich. An error on the catcher that chased Dansby from first to third. And now a gap shot off the bat of Ender. That's going to rattle up against the wall. 1 run scores. Here comes Mike to third. He'll stop there. And the Braves jump out 2-0. That snaps the 0 for 13 for Ender, and aggressive early in the count.
Boy, good swing there. He got that one out front. Third, fourth RBI.
Kind of like the Blue Jays did to us last night. That's perfect. When you make a mistake like they just made, 2 mistakes, if anything, you capitalize like that right away. It really hurts the team.
And now a chance, fellas, for a big inning for the Braves. Talked earlier about their troubles with runners in scoring position. Much better job of that here in the second inning. They've scored 2 runs, and now Toronto staring down the barrel of Albies, Freeman, and maybe Markakis already down 2-0. Ozzie flied out to right his first time up. 50 RBIs for the Braves second baseman before the All-Star break. A chance for 2 more here. High pop. Hernandez and Grichuk in left. It'll be Hernandez. There's the catch. Tag. Both runners are going to advance on the fly ball. Nice slide by Fultonevich. Ozzie with a sacrifice fly. It's 3-0.
Good ABC baseball this inning by the Braves.
You know, Ozzie did something right there that I love, Joe, that a young guy to me is not great at doing. But the Hall of Famer Chipper, who's going in a couple weeks, always was so great teaching me that. Just get 1 run in. Don't worry about both runs. You try to, and all he did was get the 1 run in right there. And look, sometimes you try to do too much. You pop it in the infield. You do whatever. He did his job.
So it's 3-0 Atlanta. Freddie Freeman, runner at third, 2 outs. And that's breaking ball in for a strike. On that Fultonevich bunt play, he is credited with a sacrifice as well as getting the RBI.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, should have been there already.
So Freddie down a strike. And that's taken wide of the plate. 1-1 your count.
Viglio, while he hasn't pitched deep into a lot of ball games, he's given his team a chance to win. They have won each of his last 4 starts. And his last start was against the Yankees. I'm certainly familiar with that lineup. And he pitched into the 5th inning and only gave up 1 earned run.
Wow.
Those guys are huge, Jeff. I don't know if you could see that on TV or not. Yankees are gigantic.
Well, I don't know where it was, whether it was on Twitter, paper, or something. I saw a picture of Aaron Judge standing next to Freddie Freeman. And I thought, wow. Me and Freddie are about the same size. I'm thinking, is he that big?
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Wow.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Freddie digs in. And he ropes one to right. Freddie Freeman has 60 RBIs, and Atlanta cashes in a 2-out run.
There you go, Chip. There's some more of your 2-out hits and runs scored.
178 2-out runs for the Braves. And a nice even 4 spot working for Atlanta in this second inning.
Well, it's nice to see tonight. You know, them bounce back. We talked about offensively, they've been a little stale. Everybody's kind of getting into it. And when your ace is on the mound, put a 4-0 lead. That's what playoff teams do here. You finish them off.
And a strike called for Nick, 0-1. What a thrill for the Markakis family. We saw his mom and dad here last night, and him his National League jersey for the festivities next week. And can you imagine how excited his kids are going to be up in Washington?
Oh, yeah.
Let's take a quick look at our landmark Always Best Always feature. There's that 2-out production for Atlanta.
What was the sign his boys had?
Oh, it was when he was getting to 2,000 hits.
Yeah, the Markometer or the Nicometer. I'm not sure which it was.
Look at that thing of beauty down the line. Freddie's on his way to third. They're going to send him. Here he comes. Relay throw to the plate is online and saved.
Great call by Gary Cederstone right there. The throw beat him, but he got under.
Don't you love Ron Washington? He already got 4 in the bank. Might as well go for another one. Thing of beauty for Nick. Sinker. Spoiled it. Now just run till they tag you.
You know, and you got to talk about Freddie here too, because the only way he does that right there, Joe, is if you're running the whole time from first base. If there's any stop, Ron Washington's going to have to stop him. He got in there.
He did. Maley whiffed on him. And Maley took a low throw where all he had to do is slide across, but his tag was high.
Well, guys, we know Braves lumbering first basemen know how to slide at the plate. Sid Bream, Freddie Freeman, and Atlanta has 5 in the second. And cued foul for a strike. He might have a raspberry on his hand.
Yeah, he got a little, when you slide in the dirt right there, it just skins you a little bit.
A little road rash for Freddie Freeman. As Tyler behind in the count and down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I was just watching Ron Washington, and it wasn't like a hyper speed wave, you know, windmill. It was kind of like, you know, keep going. You know, he wasn't making a big deal about it.
Look at him. He's cool, man.
Yeah, he is.
He's wash.
1-1 pitch. Let me ask you guys as former outfielders, do you see the third base coach and see how wildly he's waving? Could Washington deke an outfielder by that subtle little wave there?
No.
You're going too hard for the ball.
You better know where you're going to throw the ball before you get to it.
Yeah.
Without knowing what's going on there.
2 balls and a strike. That's turned on and hammered foul.
I mean, that's a good throw by Hernandez.
It was.
It just happened to be an aggressive play by Ron Washington and great base run by Freddie.
Sam Gaviglio is about to make his 34th pitch of this inning on a very hot night. 5 runs on 5 hits, all in the second. And Maley scoops that.
I'm going to give about 99% of the credit to Dansby Swanson. who had a great at bat and took those borderline pitches. 10 of them, 10 pitch bat. Yep. Well, a couple of them were just off the plate and he took them.
He was the third man to hit in the inning. And a Fultonevich bunt, an Ender double on the first pitch. Ozzie a sac fly. Freeman and Markakis with hits. And now Tyler working overtime, fouls that one straight back toward us.
And we talked about it. The pitcher threw 4 pitches to Fulte, and the first 2 were nowhere close. Yep. And I always remember talking to Glav and Smoltzy and Huddy and those guys. They said when the pitcher comes up, I want 1 pitch. I don't want to have to work 5 or 6 pitches to get him to bunt. You throw it down the middle, you let him bunt it back to you, you throw him out, and you move on.
Right.
Latch line into center field, another base hit. The Braves will bring a 10th man to the plate. It's 6-0, and John Gibbons has to go get Mr. Gaviglio in the second inning. And the problem for Toronto, not just this outing, but they're headed to Fenway Park for a big series with the Red Sox coming up.
That was a big at bat for Tyler. He'd been struggling at home. He was just 7 for his last 44 at home. And boy, did he zero up that one down and away. Great swing.
And you know how it is, Joe. When the floodgates open, man, this is when you run into the bat rack right here.
Yep.
The Braves had 10 hits with a runner in scoring position in their last 7 games. They have 4 such hits in this inning alone and lead 6-0. On our Xfinity cam, our live look in at SunTrust Park, where the Braves have scored 6 runs in the second inning. They've chased Sam Gaviglio and now square off with Jake Petrichka, former Chicago White Sox. .6'5", 220 out of Northfield, Illinois.
It's a big boy.
Johan got the inning started with a leadoff single. He scored the Braves' first run. And the Braves have scored 6 or more runs at home for the 5th time in an inning this year.
I got a question. What do you do in the scorebook when the guy comes up again?
Well, you move over to the next inning. Like I have to move over to the 3rd, but I have to retitle it the second inning.
Nice. Appreciate it.
And you have to renumber all the subsequent innings too.
It's a lot of work.
It is, but only if it's happening to the Braves.
Yeah, then you don't mind it.
Then you don't mind it when they're doing it.
The other lesson is you got to. I don't know if you're far enough along in your broadcasting career to be keeping score in pen. Pete Van Wieren is the master of keeping score in pen. He never made a mistake. The rest of us have to stick with pencil.
But you wanted to be in the press box, in the booth, when there was a lineup change. and see Pete go off.
Oh, I bet.
That big pin cap was flying all over the booth.
And there were about 17 different choices of big pens.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Man, what a great book I got here.
It's a nice book.
Handmade. Look, I made this thing all by myself.
I was really impressed when you did that.
The FedEx.
Mm-hmm.
Way outside of Acuna. Ball 1, strike 1.
As people say, I think I'm maturing right before y'all's eyes.
From your lips to God's ears.
Oh, like a standing ovation in the truck.
Wow. Oh, good cut by Ronald. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Just heard from Katie. She's in tears.
I don't think Gretchen believes me for some reason.
Oh boy, what a nice inning. Something the Braves really needed tonight. We got a big lead. And still hitting against Toronto. 2 on, 2 out, 1-2 pitch. And taken high. We'll keep an eye on the Phillies. Phillies are in New York tonight. As we've mentioned, the Phillies have a 1-game lead over the Braves in the Eastern race at the start of action tonight. Velasquez and DeGrom are the starters in New York tonight.
Well, that's good news for Braves fans. The fact that DeGrom's going.
Yeah. But can the Mets score for him? Mets have scored 24 runs in the last 7 games started by DeGrom. They gave him 12 runs in 1 start in Denver.
Yeah, he was probably thinking you'd save a few of those for my next start.
Yeah. And a miraculous comeback for Velasquez. The pitch is a called strike, and that ends a terrific Atlanta inning. The Braves scored 6 runs, forcing Jeff Francoeur to change his scorebook for the first time this year, and he's done a good job. The hit parade for Atlanta makes it 6-0 after 2 in Game 2 at home against Toronto. Not an awful lot of run support. He's gotten 6 to play with after 2 innings. And he's got the pitcher spot coming up to start inning number 3 for Toronto.
Well, the good thing for him, as we look at our StatCast info on non-fastballs, a 124 average behind only Ohtani and Morton. Well, those are low averages, aren't they?
God.
Man.
That is powered by AWS, which might translate to all world stuff. Those guys on the screen.
And you say, well, boy, you had a long inning to sit and watch. Not really. He's running the bases. Kept him loose.
I've never met a pitcher that says, man, was awful sitting on the bench, watch my team score 8 runs while I had to
stop.
I think
stop.
they'll take all the runs they can
there.
Well, I wonder if this is Petrichka's first big league at bat. Long-time American League pitcher. No record of it in the Toronto Guide. And outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. So it is his first big league appearance as a hitter against a guy throwing 99 miles an hour. Good luck. And the pitch is cut on a miss. That went 97. And Fulte's got 3 strikeouts.
It was a good swing, but he's got to do a job of keeping that left foot not in their dugout.
Yeah. Can you blame him?
Heck no.
Wow. So back to the top, Curtis Granderson. Granderson and Solarte, the next 2, they both grounded out to Freddie Freeman in the Jays' first inning.
You guys were talking about Curtis Granderson last night, and you particular, Chip, about his charity work in Chicago, trying to help promote baseball in inner city Chicago, and what he's done for the University of Illinois at Chicago. He is one class guy.
You know, for the Players Association, you know, you always have a couple guys that represent all the players, and he's one of the 2 guys that represents players. And
that's a great choice.
You know, when you're talking to Rob Manfred and those guys and going through the negotiations, he's a great guy to have up there.
You bet.
Wow. Bat shattered there on a check swing.
That you hear the term sawed off? That was literally sawed off in his hands.
Yeah, look, see how close it got to his fingers.
Ooh. Man. Split all the way down to the knob.
One ball, 2 strikes. And popped up. Dansby's there. He's got it. Granderson is the second out. And Solarte is the hitter. No swing. 1 ball, no strikes for the Toronto third baseman. It's somewhat odd saying that Solarte is the starting third baseman for the Blue Jays because Josh Donaldson is still out. When we were in Toronto a few weeks ago, as this one's hit toward Ozzie at second, he's going to make the long throw to first in time to retire Solarte. There was talk Donaldson might be getting close to a return. That's not the case, and we'll explain when we come back. Toronto. As we take a peek out on the fan plaza here at SunTrust Park, Dansby Swanson will be the batter. Sometimes, fellas, it's the game within the game that gets ignored. And Joe, as you mentioned, his at bat, our Georgia Lottery, hitting the jackpot feature.
How about that? Most 8+ plate appearances for the year, trailing only Jose Ramirez of Cleveland. That includes the one tonight. That's a grinder.
Yeah, and a lot of those times you'll see when a guy sees 8, 9, 10 pitches, he gets a hit a lot of the time, or at least hits it hard somewhere.
Trichka misses up and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dansby scored the second Braves run, the second of 6 that came across an inning ago. And Foltynewicz breezing with a 1-hitter so far. That was a good breaking ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Petrushka can rush it up there. He can top out at about 96. Change up, mostly fastball change up, has a slider.
That's popped up towards Smoke at first. A sure-handed first baseman in foul ground makes the play. And there's out number 1. Another off day for the Braves tomorrow, and then we'll welcome the Arizona Diamondbacks to town. Arizona with a 1.5 game lead over the Dodgers out west. Braves will see Zach Godley, Zach Greinke, and Patrick Corbin in that series.
They've got some good starting pitching.
Braves will counter with Anibal Sanchez, Sean Newcomb, and Julio Teheran on Sunday. And Joe, we'll miss you. You are headed for family time before the All-Star break.
Yeah, head start on the break.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Are you going to miss me, Chip?
No.
But Paul Bird will be here.
That's why.
Filling in for me. He didn't mean that.
That was a quick no.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Of course I'll miss you. Come on up and join us.
I'm going back to the beach tomorrow.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Need to work on your tan.
Fouled away.
Good cut. That's contact. That's a bunt, an RBI tonight, and contact. You're talking about Petrushka stepping in the bucket.
Fulty's pretty good at it.
Mike's pretty much got that corner marketed right there.
And a swing and a miss.
There's flair there. I gotta like it.
Foltynewicz is the second out, back to the top of the order, and Ender and Ciarte.
Joe, don't forget to put suntan lotion on your dome either.
Oh, I've got like 2 hats to wear. But I will. Thank you.
And I'm not really sure that was meant as a helpful suggestion.
Oh, no, he meant it. He was sincere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Want it to burn.
Ender turns it loose and fouls it away for a strike.
He just doesn't understand the pain and anguish of, you know, all of a sudden your pate being exposed.
0-1. Back to the second baseman. And Ender is retired. Thought Petrushka was going to grab that. He didn't. But he gets Atlanta in order. And we head to the 4th inning. Atlanta 6, Toronto nothing. Brought to you by Geico. Hard to believe it was 18 years ago today. The 71st All-Star Game was held at Turner Field in Atlanta. Chipper Jones hit a home run for the National League, but the senior circuit came up short and fell 6-3 to the American League on this date in 2000.
You know, that's one of the things that I think captured the Braves family, Braves nation for Chipper, is that he was always rising to the occasion like that. You know, one of the things that just always fascinated me was how he could come off the disabled list and hit a ball 8 miles somewhere. It never failed. I remember him doing it in San Francisco, hitting a splash homer after being on the DL for 2 weeks. I never could figure out, how did he do that?
He had a 3-homer game in Washington like 3 days after he came off the DL.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But he was so good at rising to those special moments and doing something big.
Well, the most special moment of his life is coming up in Cooperstown.
And you talk about big moments. 2006, you know, I got the opportunity to play with him at the World Baseball Classic, and you know, Buck Martinez, who's calling for the Blue Jays, was our manager. And you know, you got A-Rod, Jeter, Griffey, all these guys. Who do you think led the team in hitting? Chipper. Led him in home runs. You know, it's just one of those things. He just showed up and did it.
Well, I'm going to be fascinated to not only hear his speech and hear who he thanks and the memories that he shares of his time with the Braves, but how he presents his speech. Only because it is going to be such a foreign thing for Chipper. We asked him about that at his house a couple of days ago. I would assume, guys, it's one thing to grab a bat and stare down Mariano Rivera with Game 7 of the World Series on the line. It's another thing when you have to encapsulate your life and career and thank everybody who helped you get there, standing in front of a stage with the ghost of Mickey Mantle tapping you on your shoulder while you deliver it.
Sure. Anytime you're out of your comfort zone, no matter what it is, it's a challenge.
I saw him earlier down there today, and we were talking about that. And my big thing I said was just be Chipper.
Yeah.
You don't want to be someone you're not. I think everybody knows him and his personality. Just be yourself.
Teoscar Hernandez is the batter. And a swing and a miss. There was a book written years ago called A Man in Full, and my impression of just sitting down with Chipper for the 2.5 hours that we reminisced, the contentment he has, the happiness he has with his life and his family, a new baby on the way. I mean, wow, what an unbelievable, what word do I want to use? Coming full circle for Chipper Jones in 2018.
I think, too, his show, his hunting show.
Yeah.
I think the way he, as good a job as he does with that, good pitch. Hosting that, I think that will help him give his speech too. He won't be quite so, I don't want to say intimidated, but nervous about it. I hope he's not.
He said the thing that worries him most is forgetting somebody. And that's certainly understandable. But the other part of it is, as Hernandez pops one up, he was off stride. Ozzie is there at second and has it. There's the first out. I used the term a moment ago, coming full circle. Barring the election of Andrew Jones to the Hall of Fame, for that group of Atlanta Braves, Chipper Jones is the last guy that's going to be in the Hall of Fame for the foreseeable future. Big three: Chipper Jones, John Schuerholz, and Bobby Cox. And what a conversation that would be to have around a table with a bottle of champagne to talk about their incredible run here in Atlanta, and that they couldn't have done it without each other. This isn't just about Chipper Jones, nor were the other inductions. It was about that great team and all the characters that made it all work.
And I think that's what you got to give Bobby and John Schuerholz a lot of credit. It's being able to take big names, big guys like that and mesh them together. None of those guys, they all had personalities. You know, they all wanted to be the best player there. But at the end of the day, they all knew they needed each other to get to where they wanted to be.
Yeah, and no one better than Bobby at getting that put together, making that all fit. But the cool thing too was anytime the team was short somewhere, needed a pitcher, needed somebody, needed a backup player, the Braves always pulled off something at the trade deadline. Hello, Fred McGriff. That made the club better. And they had a good farm system, able to deal from a position of strength with so many good prospects.
Three balls and a strike for Randall Grichuk. Runner at first, one out. And that's in for a strike. Of course.
And let's not forget too that who Chipper replaced. A guy who had been the MVP in 1991. Not a bad player, Terry Pendleton.
Yep.
And to put that kind of faith in Chipper was, you know, a leap of faith too.
Bouncing ball hit toward Camargo at third. Second base one. Around the horn and got it.
Great turn.
A 5-4-3 double play. The Braves standing around, not sure if that's the third out. It was. We'll see if Toronto challenges the bang bang play at first base. Smoke is out at second. Grichuk out by an eyelash for the moment at first base. Well, those are some strong arms around the horn for Atlanta.
What I loved about Ozzie is that he made the throw from where he caught the ball.
Well, I think he was safe.
Well, Toronto's not going to challenge, maybe not enough to overturn the call. So after the walk, a double play ends the Toronto fourth.
Ozzie Albies set to lead off for Atlanta. We know he was just named to his first All-Star game, and he's gotten a lot of attention this season. And with a lot of attention, they're paying attention to everything, including those two little chains that hang around his neck, which, as you can imagine, have a special story behind them. So one of them that he just kissed with the palm tree reminds him of his home island of Curacao. The other one, Ozzie's dad passed away in 2013, very soon after Ozzie signed that first contract with the Braves, and his dad wore that chain every single day. Ozzie hasn't taken it off since, and guys, easy to say he is making his papa very proud.
That's great. That's a great story.
Yep.
And Ozzie's going to lead off the fourth for Atlanta. Freeman and Markakis to follow. This is Tim Meza, the pride of Allentown, Pennsylvania. A 6'2", 210-pound left-hander, the third Toronto pitcher of the game. His first big league action came last year. He pitched in 19 affairs for Toronto. Gave up 13 runs in 17 innings. But didn't walk many. It's 27 strikeouts, 4 walks. And out of play, 1 ball, 2 strikes. "51 RBIs for Albies so far. And didn't get that. There's swing and a miss stuff. 1 up, 1 down for the Braves in the 4th. And here's Freddie. And there goes Toronto's defense into their patented left-hand hitter shift. Good cut, foul back. Still no score in New York. That game's in the 6th inning. Velasquez and DeGrom. Velasquez coming back off the disabled list. In his last start, you might recall, he was hit on the forearm up near the elbow on a line drive. And in one of the most incredible plays I've seen, Velasquez scrambled toward the third base line, picked up the ball with his left hand and threw a strike to get the runner at first base. He's a right-handed pitcher. And then after he made the play, he went straight to the turf. He thought his elbow was broken. That's how hard the ball hit him. As Freddie's down on strikes, Mesa's come on and done a good job so far. 2 away.
He's blown away, Ozzie and Freddie. Good fastballs. Fastball slider guy.
And now we'll have to face Markakis with 2 quick outs. This will be a challenge. Nick is a tough man to strike out, just 43 times this year.
Well, he just needs another hit for another multi-hit game.
Amazing. Nick Markakis still the toughest man in the National League to strike out. Once every 9.3 at bats. Buster Posey second for the Giants. Posey, by the way, has a hip problem, and I think the Giants disabled him. Posey will not be in the All-Star game for the National League.
Well, they beat the Cubs again today.
Well, you can tell me all you want, strikeouts don't matter and the new statistics and all this. Buster Posey, Nick Markakis, 2 of the best hitters in the National League. They put the ball in play.
And Nick finds a lot of holes with.
Well, you give yourself a chance.
A ton of multi-hit games. And Nick with 38 of them is our Zaxby's indescribably good player. And what a fearsome duo. Freeman and Markakis against left-handed pitching in the middle of this Braves lineup. Fun to watch. Grounded towards Smoke, kills, scoop, and race to the bag. And it's 3 up, 3 down in the Atlanta 4th. Gurriel leads off for Toronto, all Atlanta.
games in control, but
Right, and remember, Freddie tried to go out and play when he got hit in virtually the same place in Milwaukee, but he just starts barking, boy, you got to get some ice.
Gurriel pops to second. Jays are not making much hard contact. In fact, it's Gurriel that had the hardest hit ball for him. That was the lone Toronto hit. It came with 2 outs in the second inning. Fultonevich is breezing merrily along at this point.
Joe, I think he heard you tonight talk about going 7 or 8 innings.
Well, and his pitch count 54.
That's what I'm saying. He's got the ability.
He has the first of 2 walks Mike has issued tonight and takes a strike. I don't know about you guys, but every time we see a player with the last name Diaz, I want to say Diaz because of Matt Diaz.
Yeah. Matt's doing a good job on MLB radio.
Yes.
Mike Fultonevich is very aware of trying to go deeper in the game, trying to limit his pitches, and he is efforting to try to make both those categories a lot better.
Well, and I think, you know, we talked about it a bunch last year, Joe, and even the year before a little bit, but I think there were a lot of other things that Fulte had to clean up first. As far as, you know, location, when to throw certain pitches. And that's the thing I think now. He's kind of done all that. And now it's that last thing we talked about tonight is kind of taking that next step.
Look what he did already in spring training by altering his windup.
Absolutely.
Luke Mailey's the catcher. What I like about Mike's game tonight is he is not trying to strike everybody out, if that is fair to say. Strikeouts are coming because he has excellent stuff. He has 3 of them. But Toronto's putting the ball in play. And he hasn't been in any real trouble with this Toronto offense tonight. Ground ball to third. Camargo's got it. Long toss across is right on the money. 3 quick up, 3 quick down. 6-0 Atlanta halfway through.
I'd like to give a big shout out to Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis, Fulte, and Ozzie Albies on their 2018 election to the All-Star Game. Guys, you deserve it. Make sure you go up there and enjoy it. It's an awesome experience.
And guys, I promise you that was completely and totally unscripted. And our thanks again to Chipper and his lovely wife Taylor for letting us invade their home for a very, very special afternoon. More of that on Twitter at Fox Sports Braves. We'll have full coverage of all the all the Hall of Fame happenings in Cooperstown and from DC next week. Follow along at Fox Sports Braves. Gretchen Caney, our fine producer, will be leading our coverage up in upstate New York. Sean Farnham, our great videographer, will be there as well. Paul Bird, I believe, will be going to Cooperstown too.
Got it covered. Gretchen's getting to be an old pro at this. All the Braves going in.
Fun night tonight in Atlanta. 6-0 Braves. Mike Fultonevich throwing a one-hit shutout through 5.
I think the one question we're going to have to ask Chipper, guys, is he going to wear the is he going to rock the goatee?
I would guess he will. I'll be real surprised if he doesn't.
What's your guess, Chip?
Well, yeah, no question. What I want to know is, will he pay the Hall of Fame to play Crazy Train when he goes to the podium?
They should.
Yeah, got to. I only have one fear.
Uh-oh, what's that?
It's that green and gold plaid suit he's got. I'm afraid he's going to break that out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I forgot to ask him that.
You know, I'm colorblind and it hurts me.
1-1 pitch. The other thing that was sort of shocking to the soul, not just the gray in Chipper's beard, but when we got to his house, he was actually working on his induction speech. And the old gray mare, as you used to affectionately call him, had the old gray readers perched at the end of his nose, writing down his comments on the legal pad. That was kind of, uh-oh. We're all moving up in line here. 2 balls, 2 strikes for Flowers. Mesa out for another relief inning for Toronto. And that's out of play, foul. I can't imagine the paternal and maternal pride that Chipper's mom and dad are going to have in Cooperstown. We've shown the video before of the moment Chipper got his phone call from the Hall of Fame. And what struck me so much, that emotional scene at his house, was first, obviously, you hug your wife, you go to mom, but then Chipper looks across the room and there's dad. And you think of the adoration and idolizing of Mickey Mantle, all those games of wiffle ball in the backyard with a PVC pipe and the tennis ball and the like.
I think that's just a great relationship when you talk about, obviously, all that the moms do, but for you and your dad.
Great moment.
That's one thing I'm looking forward to seeing, is Chipper's dad up there and the emotion. I mean, I remember seeing my dad, knowing where he was. Every time I see my first home run and they show my dad up there cheering.
Oh, how great was that?
That's my point. That's, you know.
Well, when you think of it, I mean, this is the culmination of a lifelong dream, not just for Chipper, but for the whole Jones family.
Exactly. It's a lot of work.
Unbridled, you know, just like Jeff's dad. It was just unbridled emotion, just such great excitement.
That was some of my best memories, were when we'd go to Houston to play the Astros and Chipper's dad would come on over, and after the games we'd go up into Chipper's suite, about 4 or 5 of us, and sit with Chip's dad and talk baseball, talk hitting. A lot of fun.
3 balls, 2 strikes. And Tyler Flowers has himself a nice night at the plate. He's got an RBI single, now a leadoff walk. And that's the first base runner Mesa has allowed tonight. Johan Camargo, the batter, he's got a run, a single, and a base on balls too. And let's not forget the others who are going into the Hall of Fame with Chipper this year. Got Trevor Hoffman going. You've got Jim Thome going. Alan Trammell is going. Breaking ball, a strike. I'm missing one.
Jack Morris, did you say him?
I did not. Jack Morris.
And there's one more. There's
Hoffman,
6.
Hoffman, Thome, Chipper, Trevor, Trammell, and Vladimir Guerrero.
Vlad.
Yep. Thanks.
We were missing one of the. Yeah.
That's quite a class.
And that's my point, is what a class. You got a guy like Vlad who could hit anything everywhere. You got a reliever who worked as hard as anybody, 600 saves. And then Jim Thome, who not just 600 homers, but anybody knows him, is probably one of the nicest guys in baseball. And then one of our own. What a great class. And I think that's one thing I love when people ask me about the Baseball Hall of Fame. You don't just let anybody in that thing. And it's no disrespect to other people's Hall of Fames, but football, you see 9, 10, 11, 12 guys get in, guys that played 5, 6 years. You have to have longevity, and you have to have consistency for a long time.
1-2 pitch is hammered foul by Camargo. Let me ask you both. You played in different eras in the game. What is your personal stance on the Hall of Fame? Is it the greatest of the great who have ever played, or is it for you guys the great players in the era in which they played? Because those really are, I think, two different standards.
I think you can only compare it to who you played against and how you fared against them. Nobody should be compared to Babe Ruth or Ty Cobb or any of the numbers they put up. They should be compared to the guys they played against and if they dominated them.
I couldn't agree more, Joe. And you look, that's why with Murph, I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. We're not talking about him in the late 90s where you had to hit 500 home runs to get in. He was a different player in a different era. And I think they try to compare it too much. You can't.
Acuna, the batter, he's 0 for 2 with a pop out and a called third strike. This guy Mesa's pitched pretty impressively, by the way. And he's throwing hard. A lot of talk with Toronto about trying to trade Josh Donaldson, who's out with the recurring calf problem. Don't know when he's going to be back. Jay Happ is arguably the best left-handed starting pitcher available on the market for clubs trying to make postseason play.
I think that's more because of Jay Happ's reputation. You know, he's done that before and he's really helped some teams, well, like Toronto. He has a 4.44 ERA, but he's 10-5. He pitched a beauty against the Braves in Toronto.
Sure did.
Well, I look at it with Toronto with Josh Donaldson. I was talking to John Gibbons, and I think that organization, the Blue Jays, might end up catching a break with him because I don't know how much more he's going to play this year. So, you know, he could accept a qualifying offer for 1 year at whatever it is, 17, 18 million. You might get him for another year up there.
That's driven deep toward right. Up near that fence. That is a foul ball. Well, the question then for Toronto becomes, okay, let's say you offer Donaldson a qualifying offer and you don't trade him. They have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. playing third base and hitting over 400 at Double-A. He's going to go to Triple-A once he's recovered from a knee injury, I think. They've got Bo Bichette, who's a shortstop, and they've got Kevin Biggio, Craig's son, also at Double-A.
Yeah, but no offense, none of them are Josh Donaldson.
No, not yet.
And you're not just going to give away Josh Donaldson for free. You're not going to not get a pick or something for him, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And if he does accept the qualifying offer, you can always trade him too in this you know, off season. But
yeah, his value is pretty low right now by comparison to what it should be.
2-2 pitch is popped down the first base line. That's headed for the seats. Acuna's still alive at 2-2. Well, the challenge for Toronto, quite obviously, they're in the AL East. They've got to compete with the Yankees and Red Sox and what seems to be unlimited cash flow. Toronto has no such luxury. They have to fight with those two clubs economically. They have to deal with the Canadian dollar versus the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what I give them a lot of credit for is every year they spend some money and throw out a team. Even when they're rebuilding, even when they're trying to go. And you know, I was reading a stat the other day, and you know, we're on pace to have, I think, 4 teams right now lose 100 games. That's embarrassing. You know, and owners, GMs of other teams, that should be embarrassing. It's a little worrisome, Joe, that teams don't care.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And lifted foul.
There's a model in place, though, and that's the Houston Astros that lost 100 games like 3 years in a row, and everybody looks at that and thinks, okay, that's the way to go. We will tank or we will rebuild and scrape the bottom before we can come back. Well, not everybody's able to come back. That was a rare example. What Houston did.
That's headed toward the gap. Great at bat by Acuna. That's going to get down. Grichuk fires it in towards second, and Ronald has a stand-up double.
He needed that too.
Join the hit party.
Another long at bat too.
I just feel like for Ronald, he hasn't had any long stretches of play. And you know, Jeff, you're going to have some ups and downs if you're playing every day, but you need some extended at-bats and extended games where you can get into a good groove, too.
And especially when we talk about it when you're a young player like that. You know, it's different when you got a guy who's played 5-6 years, but when you've never seen some of these pitchers and you're coming to this level, like you said, you need at-bats. You need continuation.
So in 05, when you came up, Jeff, as an everyday player, how long did it take you to feel comfortable? Because you were in kind of the same situation that Acuna is in.
Oh, you still, I felt like every day I had to go through a routine with TP and those guys to get to where I could be. I mean, you're 21, 22, you still need at-bats, you still need practice, you still need work. You know, when later in your career you get used to it more, you know, okay, maybe today I'll just hit off the tee and go play a game. But when you're young like that, you're used to hitting 100 balls a day.
And how much of that was affected by not knowing your pitching opponent?
Well, like I said, we were lucky. We had a lot of guys between Andrew and Chipper and those guys, Giles, that had faced all these guys a bunch, so we got good scouting reports. And I think Seitz and those guys down there do a good job. They have a meeting every day, so I know he's getting the info, but I think it's what Joe said, it's getting the reps.
No balls, 2 strikes for Fultonavich. And he swings and misses. And 2 are out, bases remain loaded, and we go to the top. It's Danny Santana. Remember, he came in defensively for Ender Inciarte. We assume Ender left because of that hit by pitch in the very first inning.
It was solid 0-2 count, right above the elbow, right in the same place Freddie got hit in Milwaukee. And as Jeff said, your arm just goes numb.
Yeah, and you see him throwing the bat. I can promise you he's throwing the bat because it hurts, not because when you're 0-2, you'll take a hit by a pitch and go to first every time.
Agreed.
No balls, 1 strike. For Santana, Flowers, Acuna, and Swanson, the Braves runners. And that's right there. Still no score in New York. Phillies nothing, Mets nothing. 7th inning.
DeGrom's got to be thinking, what do I have to do?
Maybe hit a home run.
He could.
And now the 0-2 pitch is lifted foul. Colorado's put 5 on the board in the first inning at home against Arizona tonight. Braves are really hoping Arizona has to go through their starting and bullpen arms in that series. Shelby Miller is the man starting for the Diamondbacks tonight. His 3rd start in the big leagues after Tommy John. Trickler toward the mound. Long throw first and safe.
You got to review that if you're Gibbons.
Tell you what a great play by the pitcher, Joe.
Yeah, I thought he was going to maybe just flip it to home plate.
That looked like it was the easiest play, but let's see. Safe or out?
He's out.
Yeah, I think this is going to be overturned. So Santana called safe, but from our angle it looked like he was out by a 1/4 step. New York will take a look at this, and we'll hold our breath and hope that they overturn this. But the fans groaning because they saw what we did, and now the Jays are walking off the field. They know that he's going to be out, so the call at first is overturned, and Meza does an amazing job getting out of a bases loaded mess in the Braves' 5th.
Because no matter where you serve or when you served, we stand ready to serve all military families.
Well, Mike Foltynewicz is dealing again tonight. 5 innings of 1 hit shutout ball. Let's take a look at our Synovus Greatness Made Here feature. Look at what Atlanta's starters have done at home since June 1.
That's just crazy stuff. 2 earned runs or fewer in 13 of those games. How many games was it? 16 total?
16, yes.
That is just nutsy stuff. Outstanding.
Devin Travis will be the Toronto pinch hitter. Mesa did nice work. 2 innings with no runs. I've got him with 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. One of those walks was intentional. Liked his arm a lot.
He had a live arm, there's no doubt.
And Mike gets a corner call there at 95. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Travis thought that was wide. It might have been.
His pitch count through 5 innings, it faced 17 guys. He was averaging 3.58, 3.6 pitches per hitter. Much improved.
So that was one of Joe's Ford keys. Below average individual pitch counts to these Toronto hitters. One more Ford key to accomplish, and that's be above average and pitch more than 5 2/3 innings tonight. And a shot to second. Hard hit ball, but at the cut of the grass, Ozzy's there, and Travis is the first out.
He got 9 hitters on 3 pitches or less. Thanks, Jared.
Well, it's in there for Foltynewicz, you know that. Milestone game for him, June 1st. We keep talking about that day on the calendar for the Braves in 2018. That's the day that Foltynewicz went the distance and shut out the Nationals. And to tell you what is so tantalizing about this young man, 9 innings, 2 hits, 11 strikeouts, and still, Joe, only 106 pitches. That was a remarkable effort.
Yeah, he teased us with that, you know. It's not like you come to expect it every night. You just, as you said, you know it's in there.
And he had to hang in there. The Braves were scoreless through 6 innings. As Foltynewicz and Steven Strasburg were going mano a mano. Braves got a run on an error by Matt Adams, and then Dansby Swanson hit the back-breaking 3-run homer on that date. And that was all she wrote. Swing and a miss by Granderson, who's down on strikes.
You know, one thing I love too, Joe, is you talk about taking the next step to be a ace of a team, lead the staff. We're playing not great right now, having a little trouble. You get a 6-0 lead. He's doing exactly what an ace does. You go out there and watch the Blue Jays at bats right now. They feel like they have no chance right now.
Right.
You can tell them. They're going through the motions.
And I don't think, as Chip said earlier, he's just trying to throw strikes. He's using all his pitches, but he's not trying to strike everybody out.
There's no need to.
That strikeout was his first one since the 3rd inning.
He's got such electric stuff. He's gonna have 10 strikeout games when he's not trying to.
Broken bat. Dansby ranges to his left, got the good hop and the throw to first. And it's 8 up, 8 down for Foltynewicz. He's got a 6-inning shutout brewing. Ozzie Albies leading off again for Atlanta in the 6th inning. The Braves all-star second baseman is tonight's Yellowwood brand, bringing the lumber feature.
And he has been. He's reached base 19 straight games. He's hit in 18 of those. That was coming into play tonight. Needs a hit tonight. Does have a sacrifice fly tonight. New chunker out there.
Luis Santos is the man pitching for Toronto. That's one of 4 changes for John Gibbons here in the Atlanta 6th inning. Devin Travis stays in the game to play second base. Gurriel moves from second to short. Diaz moves from short to third base. So Solarte is out of the game.
I'll tell you what, too. I'm looking at the schedule. Toronto can't be happy about having to use all their bullpen like this when they don't have a day off tomorrow. They go to Boston for 4 games.
Swing and a drive. A towering home run. Chop house bound.
Welcome to the game, Santos, right, Joe?
Yeah, and he said that Ozzie needed to extend his streak. Well, he did it in fine fashion. He hit it one right in the middle of somebody's beer.
I was going to say, for that was a bomb. Get him a cold one for that one.
Right on.
19th home run, 52 RBIs, and Atlanta leads 7-0 tonight.
Don't cool him off too much there, Ron.
EMT down there making sure he's okay.
Isn't it amazing the turnaround for Ozzie, guys? He had that stretch of 100 or so at bats where he was hitting below 200. Can't say that anymore. 37 hits in his last 90 at bats.
He's a delight, man. He loves playing. You can just see the fun he has and the enjoyment he has with his teammates.
I think what makes him so awesome is this is his first full year when he got off to just a torrid start, just couldn't get out.
Yeah.
And then he went through that stretch that Chip was just talking about, but he was the same guy every time you talked to him in the clubhouse, the plane, anywhere. That's tough to do as a young kid.
So let me ask you this. With all the attention that Freddie Freeman gets as a potential MVP in the National League, you look at Ozzie's numbers. Second in multi-hit games, first in runs, second in hits, first in total bases, first in doubles, first in extra base hits.
That's MVP worthy consideration.
You got to start at least talking about it, don't you?
Yeah. Danny Santana walk up, wanted to know what the pitch was. It looked like Ozzie was saying fastball. Santos has a good one.
Full count for Freddie. And he says shift that. Love it. Freeman goes the other way.
It's a crack up to me when they've got this big shift on for anybody. And Freddie hits one the other way, and then it's a scramble. Guys are racing from the right side of the diamond to the left to make sure somebody's covering third, somebody's covering second. Another good sign for Freddie.
I think what's so great is I was talking to a couple of the Braves coaches. They're talking about people getting a right-handed bat. You know, this offseason, other stuff to put in between Freddie and Nick. Well, they both hit left-handed pitching, if not better than right-handed. So who cares?
Who cares?
Nick Markakis, an RBI double. And of note for the Albies blast, Jared points out his home run snaps a 53-inning scoreless, or excuse me, homerless drought for the Braves. Their last one came on the 4th of July against the Yankees. So again, a much needed game from an offensive standpoint for the Braves. They got a big inning in the second. Went 4 for 7, I believe, with runners in scoring position, make it 4 for 8 in that inning alone. And now Albies adds a towering home run for the 7th Atlanta tally. Big hole for Nick on the right side. He's ahead 2-0. And that pushed him off the plate. Ball 3. Long night for John Gibbons and his club.
Good baseball man there. Jeff was talking about him when he was one of the, I think, the bench coach for the Royals.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Loved him. He just had a good perspective. You come back, have a big, you strike out your first at bat, leave a couple people on. Don't worry about it, Frenchie. You'll get him next AB. And when you have 600-700 bats in a year, you have to have that perspective.
Sure. I got to know him just a little bit when the Blue Jays played the Rangers in the postseason a couple of years ago, and he was so forthcoming with whatever we asked him or wanted to know in the managers' meetings. He was very helpful. He wasn't going to give away any trade secrets, but anything. Good breaking ball there, Santos there. But anything you ask him about his players, loves his players, bragged on them, talked about trials and tribulations. He was terrific.
That's part of the job of the manager. You have to kind of promote your club and sell your club, especially the visiting broadcasters who don't necessarily see him every day.
And you know who brought him back to Toronto? Alex Anthopoulos, who's here now.
Yeah, Gibbons
brought him back as a manager. Him and Gibby are real close.
Second go round as the Toronto skipper. Runner at first for Tyler Flowers. And he hits one high in the air toward left. Hernandez going back to the track. And a step shy of the fence, has just enough room. And that's the second out. Stay tuned for the middle of the 7th inning coming up. It's the stretch. It's presented by Synovus, the bank of here. The stretch is in the 7th. The Braves have scored 7 so far tonight. And here's Johan Camargo. He's got a hit in 3 trips to the plate tonight. How about the Marlins? They're giving Miami all they can, or Miami's giving Milwaukee all they can handle. Miami 4, Milwaukee 2 tonight. That game down in South Florida. As Johan didn't get it, a strike. Marlins are without JT Realmuto. He's on paternity leave in that series. Dan Straley's the man on the mound for Miami. Freddie Peralta is pitching for the Brewers. And up and away.
We sure liked Peralta when we saw him.
We sure like that Milwaukee team.
Yeah.
Philly and the Mets in the 8th. 0-0 still. Jacob deGrom, 8 innings, 5 hits, 1 base on ball, 7 Ks.
Just a normal night for him.
1.6 ERA this year. Wow.
Amazing. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss.
I'd say he deserves to start the All-Star game, other than the sole fact that it's in Washington. I think it'd be cool to see Max Scherzer start that one.
I was actually just thinking about Mike Fultonevich myself.
Yeah.
Well, he's going. But you're probably right. It would more than likely will be Scherzer.
And well deserved.
Well, it's interesting you guys bring those 2 names up. When the Cubs were in town, I had a long chat with Joe Madden, the Cubs manager, and I asked him what his impressions were of Mike Fultonevich, and he said that's an exceptional arm. Exceptional. And he said once he figures it out, That's Max Scherzer. What a compliment. And he is pitching like Max Scherzer without the gigantic strikeout total. Hasn't needed it tonight. And how about that pitch from Santos?
And remember this, guys. It took Scherzer a good 3-4 years to turn into what he became.
Ozzie Albies in the 6th inning. Hit one into the chop house seats. A long homer. It's 7-0 Atlanta. We're through 6.
Brought to you by Chevrolet, and you gotta like all those A's on caps, don't you? Everybody chipping in tonight, doing a good job. Fultonevich with a great line. Markakis, Ozzie with the home run last inning. And you guys mentioned Scherzer, and relative to Mike Fultonevich, I want to show you a pitch earlier tonight that made me think of John Smoltz and Max Scherzer. This is a slider, and it was not an out pitch. It might have been the first pitch of a sequence, and is 88 miles an hour, down at the knees, a little below, perfectly located. That'll make you think of those guys, those frontliners.
Well, he is pitching like an all-star tonight. His first start since being named an all-star in the National League. He's through 6. And Justin Smoke hits a high fly ball deep to right, and that one's not going to come back. That's in the chop house seats. A majestic home run for the Toronto first baseman. That spoils the shutout bid. It's now a 7-1 game.
This guy is red hot.
It's as high as a home run as you're going to see right there.
Yeah, he can drop on that back leg and launch.
He's strong. He's just big country strong.
So 6 straight games with an RBI. He's got homers in both games here in Atlanta. And the University of South Carolina alum Justin Smoke has come back to the Southeast and has made his friends and family happy for the 2nd straight night. So Fultonevich goes to work with Teoscar Hernandez. No balls and a strike.
I want to see Fulte come back right here, Joe, and just have a nice solid inning. You know, who cares? That's going to happen. You're up 6-0.
Right.
And there was that
7-0.
That Smoltz Scherzer slider again. Tyler hardly had to move his glove. And he threw it right there again. That one a fastball over the outside edge. And that's 5 strikeouts and a good comeback, as you requested, Jeff. 1 away.
And see, that's where I think Fulte's growing up. You know, 2 years ago, even last year, that home run might unravel him. He might be, you know, but all right, it's just a home run.
Randall Grichuk, the batter.
When teams start thinking about are they buyers or sellers going into the trading deadline, and you're trying to evaluate your own team and trying to think in terms of not just now but next year, maybe even 2 years down the road, where do certain players fit coming up. Tell you what, Justin Smoke right now would draw a lot of attention if you put him on the market. His left-handed, he's a switch hitter,
right,
with his power.
And a smooth defender too.
Mm-hmm.
Good player.
Well, the good thing for him is he plays a position that it's not a lot of wear and tear. He's not running all over the place all the time.
Well, even if you're an American League team and you have a good first baseman, you got a DH spot maybe where you can alternate guys. And he is really hot. More ways than one.
I'm proud of you there. You had an opportunity. First the pitch. Oh,
no.
Smoking hot.
Yeah. Low hanging fruit. You laid off. Good job. Full count for Grichuk, former St. Louis Cardinal. And here it is. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts after the homer. 2 outs in the inning. 1 more to get, and then we'll send you to the stretch. It's presented by Synovus, the bank of here.
I mean, you can just see how nasty this stuff is when you see guys taking 3-2 swings like that.
They're starting their swing before the pitch even comes out of his hand.
And we're not seeing Mike gasping for breath as that one's hit the other way past Freddie Freeman. Gurriel has a 2-hit game.
1 on 97 and 1 on 98.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
2-hit game for him.
Good looking player. Little late.
Yeah.
It was fair.
That's one of those where you hit it and you go, where's the ball?
Yeah.
All of a sudden you look to your right. Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
So he's at first for Aledmus Diaz, who's walked and tapped back to the mound. Well, as Jeff mentioned, Toronto's not going to win the East, but they can impact who does. 4 games in Boston. Handful of games left with the Yankees, but more games, I believe, with Boston than New York for Toronto left.
So John Gibbons was talking about, he said both those teams are so talented and so good. He says it feels like every week we're playing one of them.
Yeah. Right back where it came from, and Diaz has a 2-out hit. So Toronto with 3 hits in the inning. That'll bring up Maley, the catcher. And Chuck Hernandez will make his way to the bullpen phone. That'll get somebody up here, as Tyler Flowers will buy some time for the relief corps to start playing catch.
Just get another out, call it a night. He's due up 3rd in the bottom of the 7th.
What I like is even after that home run, came back, got the next couple guys, single up the middle, but you can tell he's just sticking with his game plan. It's a good game plan.
Yeah, the Gurriel hit, he swung late and found a hole.
And that, you know, he's a major league hitter. They're going to hit some balls sometimes.
So 2 on, 2 out. And Luke Maley, the catcher, is standing in. Maley's 0 for 2. You see his body of work tonight. Devin Travis waiting on deck. As Fultonevich about to uncoil his 87th pitch, and it was a beauty. Boston's winning tonight 4-1. Oakland winning again. They're beating Houston 6-2. What a story the Oakland A's are becoming. Oakland's only 10 out of first, but 10 over 500. They've got a real hot streak working, as does Tampa Bay. Rays won again today. That club is 48-44 this year. And yesterday unveiled plans for what looks to be a beautiful potential new ballpark in Ybor City in Tampa.
Hope it happens.
The 0-2 pitch.
Never been there. Is that a good area?
It's all right. A lot of entertainment.
It's on the side going to Orlando
Correct.
towards Tampa,
Yes,
right? From Tampa?
correct.
Okay.
Yep. Used to be the big cigar manufacturing area of Tampa.
So they're putting it a good 40 minutes from the other stadium.
Yeah, it's a rough haul. The cost of the stadium is roughly $900 million. It will feature a fixed roof, a translucent roof, they called it, which I don't know how that's going to work on a bright day. It'd be like sitting in a terrarium, in Tampa.
You know, I remember a beautiful stadium they drew a picture of in Montreal, downtown. It's a nice picture.
Yeah, like Tampa Bay, they couldn't figure out who was going to pay for it. Montreal, they haven't gotten that figured out in Tampa yet. But they've got the design, and that's a start. The other one that has to be resolved is Oakland. They've had 2 or 3 different stadium sites. I believe they've settled on one. Now it's a matter of whether or not the Politicos and baseball and the A's can figure out a way to make it work.
Well,
that one's downtown Oakland, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
The sad thing with the Tampa one to me is for the last 7-8 years now, their fans are missing a heck of a baseball team to watch.
1-2 pitch is tapped toward third. That's foul again.
I know y'all were there earlier this year, I think, right?
Right.
I mean, when you're down there playing and it is just, it's dead.
Yeah, there's no noise, no enthusiasm, no excitement.
Yeah, there was talk years ago about maybe putting a major league ballpark as an attraction at Al Lang Stadium, the old spring training side of the Cardinals, down by the water. It would have been spectacular, but that's not going to happen.
I think the EPA got involved with that one and said it just wasn't going to work there.
And so for the Rays, kind of like the Marlins, if they're going to draw as a regional franchise, they have to be able to do exactly what you said, Jeff. Pull from the Tampa St. Pete area, pull from Lakeland, pull from Orlando, and try to get more people conveniently to a more centralized location.
Meet in the middle.
That's the perfect thing, conveniently. Y'all know as well as I do that bridge from Tampa to St. Pete. It's a nightmare.
It can be. You get a flat, somebody gets a flat tire.
You're done.
It's a rough day. Yep.
Boy, it is a rough day if you have a flat tire. Not kidding you.
You know how to change a flat, Joe?
Of course I do. Had to change one just the other day.
Heaviest workload for Fultonevich. Late in the game, leading 7-1. Smoke with a leadoff home run.
This guy's messing up the curve.
Yeah.
You know, with his pitches per hitter.
That should take care of him, though, if Dansby can field cleanly. He can't, though. And the ball bounces right back to Fulte on top of the mound. Infield chopper keeps the inning alive. Toronto's got him loaded with 2 out.
Well, he jammed him, too. I mean, he just ran that one in. Great pitch.
So give Maley some credit. That was a well-earned infield hit. And now Devin Travis, the batter. Fultonevich with the bases loaded and 2 outs. He got Travis to roll out to second, his first and only time up. Little pop fly over the Braves dugout. Foul, strike 1. They're in the 9th inning in New York. Phillies nothing, Mets nothing. Great old-fashioned pitchers duel. Velasquez and DeGrom were the starters tonight.
What a game.
Colorado 6-1 over Arizona. That's in the 2nd inning. Shelby Miller starting for the Diamondbacks, coming back from Tommy John. Look forward to seeing Shelby. I'm glad he's back. He's trying to work out some kinks at the major league level after serious arm surgery. Sam Freeman, the first Brave to warm up tonight. Shouldn't take him long on a hot evening. And a fly ball toward right center. Santana on the run. That ball is off the top of the wall and into the stands for a grand slam. And if ever there was a deceptive score for a starting pitcher's performance, this one might take the cake. It's 7-5. And that'll be all for Mike Foltynewicz as Travis hits a grand slam to make it a 2-run game.
First real hanger he's thrown tonight. Give credit to Luke Maile for extending the inning with that long at bat he had. Right off the top of the wall. What a shame for Mike.
So he leaves with the lead, but it's now a 2-run game. 7-5 your score.
The Georgia Lottery, and by the All-South Highway Safety Team. The All-South Highway Safety Team reminds you to play it safe by slowing down behind the wheel.
Well, a grand slam for Devin Travis, the second homer by Toronto in the 7th inning. It's now a 2-run game. And Sam Freeman will face Kevin Pillar. A leadoff homer, then 2 strikeouts, 3 singles, and then the slam. Ends the night for Mike Foltynewicz, who pitched such brilliant ball tonight, but couldn't get the 3rd out of the inning. Now Freeman will try to do that. And a strike. Nothing for Mike to hang his head about. He pitched great baseball tonight.
You're right, Chip. It's one of the most deceiving lines I've ever seen.
No doubt. I love the way he stayed on the attack, though.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a ball and 2 strikes for Pillar. And in the dirt, it's 2-2.
It's a big out right here. Get Kendry Morales out there on deck. In a 2-run game, you don't mind him leading off an inning, but not with the guy on.
That's right.
Ripped to right. And that's down the line, foul. Brad Hainsey, the fine public relations manager for the Braves, says nothing major to report on Ender Inciarte. He was taken out as a precaution after he was hit by a pitch. He's day to day. Get him out now, day off tomorrow. Hopefully he'll be ready to go on Friday night. 2-2. And a humpback liner toward Ozzie. Got rid of it quickly and read it well. That was spectacular work. And that takes care of Pilar and Toronto. The 7th inning took a little longer than we liked. 5 runs are across. 2-run game. Time for the stretch here in Atlanta.
Welcome to the stretch, brought to you by Synovus, the bank of here. Welcome to the stretch, brought to you by Synovus. Jerome and Brian out here on the Fox Sports set in the heart of the Battery, and we wanted to update you on the guys that have made it to the All-Star game because of the final vote. And BJ, yesterday when we were talking about the snubs, we talked about how the Milwaukee slugging first baseman, that right there, Jesus Aguilar, deserved to go, and he did win the final vote. As a matter of fact, he got the 2nd most votes ever in the final vote. Last year, it was the Dodgers' Justin Turner, and he's the only guy that got more. If you look at those numbers, you can see why he deserves to go. Gene Segura, though, of Seattle, this is his 2nd All-Star game. He went once as a Brewer years ago. You look at those numbers, you're a little puzzled why he was able to get in there.
You know, and I am puzzled. I mean, with Giancarlo Stanton in that voting, I would have thought Giancarlo would have got more votes. Everybody wants to see the long ball. They want to see the home run, and Stanton and Judge an All-Star game together would have been fun to see. But Aguilar definitely deserved to go. 23 home runs, 64 RBIs in the first half. That is a fantastic first half. Well deserved. I'm glad he got in.
You got to tip your cap to the Seattle fans. They had a big push out there in the Northwest to send him. They were the only franchise that never had a player in the final vote in the history of it. They finally got one in there, and they made their voices counted. Not that Gene Segura doesn't deserve to go. We wish him a lot of the best out there, and we can't wait for the game in D.C. only on Fox next Tuesday. All right, before we send it back up to the booth, here now a word from our friends at Synovus.
Visit Synovus for your banking, lending, and investing needs. Proudly serving you across the Southeast. Synovus, the bank of here.
All right, Jerome and BJ, great job on the stretch. Here is king-sized right-hander John Axford, a Canadian native, 6'5", 220, who's seen time in the big leagues with the Brewers, the Cardinals, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Colorado, Oakland, now Toronto.
Kind of made a name for himself in Milwaukee. That's where he started really putting things together and became a valuable asset to a lot of teams late in ball games.
Grichuk in right, Pilar in center. 2-run game. Bottom of the order for Atlanta. Acuna, Swanson, and a pinch hitter. Axford's an interesting story. Was originally drafted by Seattle 17 years ago, instead went to Notre Dame. He pitched in the College World Series as a freshman. Didn't pitch in 2004 after Tommy John surgery. Went back to school, pitched 3 innings in 2005. Left Notre Dame and went to Canisius College. Then pitched for the greatest professional baseball team ever, the Melville Millionaires.
Yes.
How apropos is that? A Canadian Summer League team in 2006. Then the Brewers signed him, and he has had a long and productive career. 7 full major league seasons for Axford. A ball and 2 strikes for Acuna, and he didn't get it. 1 up, 1 down for Axford.
Visit your nearest Advance Auto Parts store to get the quality parts you want from people that know a lot about them.
So Axford gets the all-important first man in a 2-run game. Dansby Swanson, the hitter. He's got a single and a run scored. Toronto trying to take Sam Gaviglio off the hook. Braves trying to hold this lead and allow Fultonevich to pick up his 7th win. 7-5 is your score. Braves had a 6-run second. Toronto a 5-run 7th.
Well, he ran that one in hard there at 95.
That had a lot of late movement, didn't it?
No balls and a strike for the Braves shortstop. Ryan Flaherty's grabbed a bat. He'll pinch hit next, as this one's hit to the shortstop. Gurriel has made the move from second to short. He handles his first chance there flawlessly. 2 out. So Flaherty for Freeman. Not Freddie, but Sam. Flaherty is hitting .248. He's 4 for 18 as a pinch hitter with 3 runs batted in. Crowd was buzzing earlier. This game was rolling merrily along. Braves had 1 run in defensively, 2 outs, bases empty, and all of a sudden Toronto put together 4 straight hits, capped by the grand slam to make it a 2-run game.
Yeah, it's 7-0. It's all fun and games, and then somebody gets hurt. Ruins the night.
Well, in the 8th inning, Toronto's going to have their 2, 3, 4 hitters coming up again. And it'll be up to the Braves pen to get 6 more outs.
I think Winkler out there. Hopefully between him and Viz, they've had, what, 3 days off now? So they should be ready to go. Haven't pitched since, what, Sunday?
Right.
Or at least Sunday.
Phillies and Mets go to the 10th inning, still scoreless. At Citi Field in New York.
Winkler's had 4 days rest. Likewise for Vizcaino.
Lifted foul out of play. It's 1-2.
I went down yesterday to say hi to a couple of the relievers, and Dan Winkler had one of the best shirts I've ever seen on.
Really?
He got all for all the relievers. It said, "Relievers are people too."
Very nice.
I loved it. I said, that's so great.
The 1-2 pitch with 2 outs. Here it is. Ooh, just missed. Axford thought it was strike 3. Good game in Chicago. White Sox lead the Cardinals 1-0. Was this a strike?
Pretty good one.
And now it's 2-2. Swing on the house. And it missed inside. Full count.
Remember a couple of years ago, Axford in spring training in Arizona had a child that was bitten by a rattlesnake.
Yes. He did.
It's in serious condition for a while.
Oh yeah. It was a couple months. I think his little girl was in the hospital for a while.
Fly ball pretty well hit to right. Richard back though is there shy of the track. And the Braves are retired in order in the 7th. 2, 3, and 4 for Toronto in a 2-run Atlanta game.
don't know. He never returns my call, but I can tell you what Greg Bird is doing tonight in our Xfinity game break. He is flat out balling in Baltimore. With the bases loaded at the plate, he just sends this one almost to Luke's barbecue. New York with a rare lead on the bad Orioles. It is 8-0 Yankees on top. They are in the 8th, fellas.
And the Yankees need a few wins, Jerome, because they're trying to chase down Boston. All of a sudden, the Red Sox have opened up a 3.5 game lead in that Eastern Division. Boston's won 8 straight games, and that's where Toronto heads next. Hopefully, after Dan Winkler sets him down in the 8th and perhaps the 9th, although it's now a 2-run Atlanta game.
Paul Bird's like, where's Waldo, man? You never know where he's going to be.
Mm-hmm. All over the planet.
Yep.
Did you ever notice how much Paul looks like Bernie Brewer? Never seen him in the same place.
Good call.
Kendrys Morales leads off, and Winkler starts him with a strike.
Got a good point.
Dan had 2 outings in Milwaukee. One was not so good. His last one just a third of an inning. Needs to have a good inning here for the Braves and hang on to this lead.
Right back to the mound, and Winkler with a stab makes the play. Dansby is right behind the bag at shortstop. If Winkler didn't get it, Dansby probably would have, but still an impressive stab for the first out.
Stick your glove out there. You never know what you might find.
I think Dansby would have had that up the middle.
Here's Smoke.
Does he bat every inning?
Seems like it.
Feels like it. I like not having anybody on in front of him.
And a strike for the Toronto first baseman. Handcuffed him, but no swing. Even count. Chase the high heat. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That uppercut he has, hard to catch up to unless you throw a hanger, a little something off speed upstairs.
Yeah.
Fastball tough to catch up to.
And then something down in the zone and off speed, and Smoke was badly fooled for out number 2. MLB.TV is now available at a lower price for $82.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, which lets you watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV and take advantage of this special offer. So 2 quick outs. Here's Teoscar Hernandez. And he's behind a strike.
You know, a lot's been asked of 3 or 4 guys in our bullpen: Winkler, Mentor, Viz, Carl. But you know, one thing I like about them is they might be a little tired, they might be young and getting it, but they come out every night and compete. They don't make excuses, don't say they're tired or.
That's what Snit says about him too. He and Chuck Hernandez, is that they compete and will take the ball anytime they are asked.
And I know people think they got it figured out all the time with the bullpen, but you ask any manager what the toughest thing to do is in baseball, I guarantee all 30 will say how to manage a bullpen.
Right. There's so much going on with the team too that we don't know about. Average fan doesn't know about.
Well, it's like anything. If a starter is sore, you're going to know about it for the most part because they're not going to pitch.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But relievers, a lot of times, they'll pitch through some soreness. They'll pitch through certain things.
And the other part that fans forget about, sometimes relief pitchers get up and warm up, get hot, and don't come into the game. That is almost as exacting as pitching in the game. which is often not factored in, as this one's whistled past Dansby into left field for a 2-strike hit. And Toronto will bring the tying run to the plate here in the form of Randall Grichuk.
Well, and I know you always mentally got to be in it, but think about Dan Winkler. He's sitting down there in the top of the 7th thinking, I'm not pitching tonight.
Right.
7-0. And then 5 minutes later, he's warming up and he's in the game. So these guys have to stay on top of it.
And it happened fast.
So Grichuk 0 for 3 tonight. He is struck out, hit into a double play, and popped out. He had a hit and a walk and a run scored last night. To center. Santana is there, and Winkler gets Grichuk. No runs, a hit, a man left. Time for a little insurance in the 8th. Let's talk about the biggest of the 2 big innings. It was the Atlanta 2nd inning, fellas. Atlanta sent 9 to the plate, 6 of them scored, and the hits were raining down off of the Toronto pitching staff and Sam Gaviglio in particular.
Yeah, and you saw Ender Inciarte with a double there after he had been hit by a pitch, so he was able to hang in there and get a base knock, and then that tremendous slide by Freddie to avoid the tag.
But it just goes to show you, we talked earlier about Wash sending Freddie and Freddie hustling. Goes to show you how big it is, even when you don't know, to keep tacking on runs and scoring.
So Aaron Loop is on. It's his 43rd appearance. He'll have Santana, Albies, and Freeman, the first 3 for the Braves, who lead by 2. And a little insurance wouldn't hurt anyone here. 7 runs, 9 hits for the Braves, 5 runs, 7 hits for Toronto. The Jays have committed the game's 2 errors. And the first pitch is hammered into left center field. That's down for a base hit. Santana's thinking 2. He's going to belly flop in for 2. Pilar took forever to get to that baseball, and then that throw to second had a big rainbow arc to it, and a leadoff double has Atlanta in business.
I think this ball had a little English on it too.
I think it did.
Because it kind of messed him up out there, I think, with the grass.
You know what? It checked up on him. He was going over to make sure he got it cut off in the gap, and it wasn't hit as deep as he thought.
It's like your wedges.
Yeah, you gotta grind them just right.
So Ozzie Albies, at the very least, will try to get Santana to third base here. Ozzie's knocked in a couple of runs. His last one, a majestic long 6th inning home run. His 19th of the year, and the first for the Braves since the 4th of July. To center, deep. Pilar back to the infield. Gone! Wow! Splash down in straightaway center.
some kind of strong, gentlemen. When he hit it, I was thinking, okay, Danny can go back, tag up, and go to third. That'll get him over. He did better than that. Wow. Great extension.
Yeah, he's right. 20 home runs for Albies before the break. And a 2-homer game for Ozzie, extending his extra base hits lead. He's been on base now 20 consecutive games, fellas. 38 hits in those 20 games. He scored 20 runs and has 14 extra base hits in that 3-week period.
Pretty good player.
You know what's so impressive to me too is how much movement he has, Joe, in his legs, his bat and everything, but yet he's somehow so smooth and able to get it down and get the bat head.
Yeah, that leg kick.
It's a big leg kick.
You would think that they would be able to off-speed him and throw off his timing. They don't. This is not a comfortable at bat for Freddie. Struck out last night against Loop. Loop's the guy hit him on the hand last year, broke his hand. So last year, year before, whatever. And that's something that stays with you.
So 2 first pitch extra base hits for the Braves in the 8th inning. A double and a homer. Now Freddie 0-2. Doesn't get it and is down on strikes. One note on Ozzie's 2-homer night. He had 1 left-handed, 1 right-handed. Do you know who the last Brave to homer from both sides of the plate in a game was?
I don't know who the obvious would be.
Little later than that. It was 3 years ago. Remember when the Braves had Nick Swisher? August
in Chicago.
August 22nd in Chicago, 2015.
The Swish dog.
He's doing a good job on Fox out in L.A.
Yes, he is.
Nick Markakis the batter. Nick has a double, an RBI, and a run scored. Atlanta has scored 9 times tonight. The last 3 runs courtesy of Ozzie Albies. Who might be making a case for the National League Player of the Week leading into his first All-Star game as a Brave. Mets batting in the bottom of the 10th inning, still scoreless with the first place Phillies. The 1-1 pitch is off the plate, ball 2. That's out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
So the outfielders for the National League in the starting lineup: Markakis, Harper, Kemp. Arenado at third. Who's the shortstop? Got Baez at second.
Freeman at first.
Brandon Crawford.
Brandon Crawford.
The Giants, right?
Okay, so Baez is kind of your guy that you would figure to be the leadoff guy. But Nick might. Nick could be a leadoff guy with all his great on base percentage.
Yeah, why not?
Brandon Crawford could always hit leadoff.
Bryce Harper's led off this year for the Nationals. So that'll be the challenge for Dave Roberts, who will represent the National League as the Los Angeles manager. Went to the World Series last year. Tyler Flowers the batter. Good night at the plate for Tyler. He's gotten on 3 times and takes off the plate.
Yeah, good night for him at the plate. Good swings, especially on that base hit in the 2nd inning. Drove in a run.
If you look at it, everybody's contributed tonight.
Well, any manager will tell you when the bottom of the lineup feeds the top, that's when it really gets fun. And that happened in the second inning. And
well, everybody got a hit in the lineup tonight.
Yeah.
And even when you took Inciarte out, Santana still got a hit.
And both leadoff guys scored a run tonight. Albies 2 runs. Freeman, Markakis single runs. Camargo, Swanson, even Mike Foltynewicz a run and an RBI. So good night all around for the Braves, who have a 4-run lead now. And a little high, I guess. 3 balls and a strike. That's just 1. They got 3 in the 10th.
Must be a homer.
Beat the Phillies 3-0. So Atlanta could pull into a tie in the East if they can get 3 more outs. And Flowers walks again. That away, Tyler.
Brandon Nimmo.
Finding Nemo.
So here's Camargo. A single, a run, 2 strikeouts and a walk. The pitch.
That was the one thing I thought would be the Achilles heel of the Phillies, is the bullpen. I really like their starting pitching. Their lineups, young, athletic. But I don't know many guys that have any experience on that back end of the bullpen.
Well, Gabe Kapler said, you might recall in that very controversial opening series here in Atlanta, that he felt that his bullpen was going to be the strength of his team.
Yeah, I really wasn't listening to what he was saying.
It was hard for anybody. Mostly because nobody had ever heard language like that.
A swing and a miss by Camargo. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And one can understand why he would think their bullpen would be good, because their starting staff is excellent. Eflin's been dealing. Arrieta had a rough June, but you know his track record. Aaron Nola, one of the best pitchers in the National League, if not all of baseball. Slow roller hit toward third. Bare hand try. Long throw to first. Morales came off the bag. Infield hit Camargo. The inning continues.
Nice try by Diaz.
Well, you say it's going to be the strength of their team. If you think about it, Neris was their closer to start off the season. They sent him down to AAA.
Yeah. Gave up a lot of long balls. Good hustle there by Johan. Earned himself a base hit.
And that's going to do it for Aaron Loup. The Braves are trying to turn the lights out on Toronto tonight, leading 9-5 in the bottom of the 8th.
And by SunTrust. Confidence starts here.
Pitching change in the bottom of the 8th inning, but the Braves are up 9-5. And after the Blue Jays leave town, the Braves have an off day tomorrow, and then they have the Diamondbacks coming in town. First place sitting pretty at 51-41. It'll be a good series. Let's take a closer look with our look ahead, brought to you by Wells Fargo. So it'll be Anibal Sanchez getting the nod in game 1. He'll take on Zach Godley. You have Sean Newcomb on the mound for game 2, and Julio Teheran will get the final game before the All-Star break in that series finale. Our coverage will begin on Friday at 7 o'clock on Fox Sports South. But guys, let's get this W first.
Okay, Kelsey, thank you very much. Man on the mound for Toronto. Little known fact, his favorite movie was Aladdin as a kid because his folks said, you too can be a genie.
I don't even know that I can read the stats.
I don't think you need to say anything.
Yeah, just let that one hang. Thanks, guys. 9-5 your score. 2 on, 2 outs for the Santa Clara, California native. The pitch is cut on and missed, a strike.
Well, that was a long way to go.
It was too hard.
Well, Joe will be riding his magic carpet to the beach after the game tonight.
Flying out early tomorrow?
I am indeed.
No balls and a strike. And that pops away. No further advance. Paul Bird will join me for the weekend with Arizona. Always a treat to work with Paul. And then we'll enjoy the All-Star break and join you in Washington, D.C. as we've told you. Boy, a big showdown for the Braves and Nationals right after the All-Star festivities at Nationals Park. 3 games in D.C., then a quick trip down to Miami. Next home games for Atlanta will be July 26th through the 29th against the Dodgers. Then Miami's here for a 3-game series, the 30th of July to August 1st. And this one's popped up. Right side, Morales in foul ground, and in the first base coaching box makes the play, and that retires the side. Huge night for Ozzie Albies. 2 homers, 1 left-handed, 1 right-handed, a sac fly, 4 RBIs, 2 runs, and Atlanta on their way. They lead it 9-5 heading to the ninth. Comes your way Friday night at 7 o'clock. The high-flying Arizona Diamondbacks are in town for their lone visit to SunTrust Park. Our game will air on Fox Sports South. It's the Friday night showdown presented by Kaiser Permanente. It'll be Anibal Sanchez and Zach Godley. Braves Live 7 o'clock. First pitch 7:35. Our first of 3 with Arizona before the 2018 All-Star break.
25-18 on the road. Entering play tonight, and 12-12 against the National League East, the Diamondbacks. The Phillies will be in Baltimore for the weekend.
Lourdes Gurriel will lead off for Toronto. Rodis Vizcaino is the 4th Braves pitcher. A nice uneventful 9th inning would be welcome for all.
Maybe Machado can hit a couple last home runs for Baltimore before he goes somewhere.
I like that. Last hurrah.
I wonder where he's going to go. There are some who speculate that the Orioles might be slow walking the Machado sweepstakes, not just for the evaluation of talent, but because they want him to be an Oriole for the All-Star game, which is in Washington, D.C.
Well, they're in the catbird seat. If both Boston and New York are interested.
Little pop behind first. That's trouble. And that is just foul. Yeah, I mean, you're right, Joe. This could be a perfect storm.
One trying to keep him from the other.
And maybe L.A. and Arizona, who've been mentioned. And maybe Milwaukee, too, another first-place team with an excellent farm system.
Don't forget Milwaukee. That's my sleeper team. Because every time they've had a chance, they've gone out and got Cece, they've got Greinke. They will go get guys.
And their fans are all in on that ball club this year.
Are.
Their crowds were great when Atlanta was up there. I mean, they were drawing 35, 40,000 with Summerfest going on, which is a real big deal in Milwaukee. They've got an excellent team. And they're in a dogfight tonight, 4-4 in the ninth inning against the Marlins. The pitch here is in the dirt. Missed outside, 2-2.
Gary Cederstorm's behind the plate tonight. He's got about 25, 30 years or so.
He's done a good job tonight, too.
He has done a great job, but he has showed zero emotion all night. It's been impressive.
Ground ball hit toward third. Johan's got it. Fast runner, strong arm. No contest, 1 out. So there's the first one. Here's Diaz.
We're hoping that this gets wrapped up pretty quick here for the Braves. I still have a pain in the pit of my stomach for Mike Foltynewicz and how well he pitched and how this line looks so ugly. I mean, you blinked, and in the 5th inning, he went from throwing a 1-hit shutout, excuse me, the 7th.
Oh, just underneath the glove of Dansby off the bat of Diaz, who's got a 2-hit game.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen someone who didn't deserve the outcome that came for him.
That one picked up a little speed on that second bounce, a little top spin.
Well, that's one thing you always loved, even at Turner Field, and here you talk to guys. We've always had a fast infield, and as a hitter, you love that.
Well, here's Maile, who had perhaps the at-bat of the game for Toronto. I know the Grand Slam's going to get a lot of talk off the bat of Travis, but if not for this guy's 4 or 5 foul balls and his infield hit, Travis never comes up. He would have been the 3rd out. Steady reach to load him up. And Travis hit one right off the top of the brick wall by the Braves bullpen for the Grand Slam homer that made it a 2-run game. And it's 0-2. Braves need 2 outs to grab a share of first again. Maile way behind, and the pitch. Got the inside corner call. I'm not sure that's where he wanted it, but he got strike 3 rung up. 2 outs.
Front door slider, even if it wasn't planned, it worked. A little backup.
It backed up on him.
So Toronto down to its final out. Devin Travis is the batter. Jays head to Boston for the Red Sox. That'll be a long night. Imagine they'll get to Boston around 4 a.m. Diaz takes second. Braves give him the base. So no steal for him. And the 0-1 pitch. Grounded toward third. Camargo's got it. Long throw. Braves win it. 9-5 is your final score. Atlanta with a huge second inning. And a huge night in particular, fellas, from Ozzie Albies. Homers from both sides of the plate. And 4 runs batted in. And the Braves win a game outside the NL East. They hit with runners in scoring position, and they are back in first place, tied with the Phillies.
And a much needed win, especially with the offensive output tonight. To watch those guys have a good time, especially when they batted around, sent a bunch of guys to the plate in the second inning to give Mike a little breathing room, and Mike was outstanding.
Yeah, we got a tough 3-game series with Arizona coming in. It's nice to get the offense with some confidence going into that. Guys feeling good coming into tomorrow, and hopefully we finish up the first half with a bang.
Big year for Mike Foltynewicz. He's already earned his first victory as a dad. Tonight he earns his first victory as a National League All-Star. He's now 7-5 on the year, and the Braves bats were booming in support. Braves split the series with Toronto. We'll welcome Arizona to town here on Friday night. We'll get you previewed for that weekend series and recap tonight's Atlanta victory here at SunTrust Park on Braves Live. It's presented by Xfinity, and it's coming up next.